Okay, what's up? I'm gonna share my thoughts on Ready Player One, the new Spielberg movie, or new, it's like from a year or two ago. I just recently watched it. I thought it was okay. I didn't like the book. I think the book is really silly. I'm gonna spoil it, so let's see. What makes Back to the Future great, for example? I don't even know if I can just summarize it. It's so many things, but the director, Marty McFly, and uh, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, the energy, the concept of the story is really interesting. I forget the name of the actress that plays his mother is really good, and George McFly, Crispin Glover, they're all very good. Okay, yeah, I went and got it just to check. Her name is Lee. Wait, now I already Leah Thompson. I think Leah Thompson. Already forgot. Yeah, but it's got energy. The DeLorean. But a key point here is that the DeLorean is cool because the movie's cool. It's not like the movie's cool just because of the vehicle. It makes the vehicle cool. Like Christopher Lloyd's performance, the energy, and it's when I last saw it, it reminded me of Rick and Morty so much. But I'll do that another time. But my point with all of this is that with so many movies, so many great movies, it's the movie itself and the energy, like say Star Wars, that creates those iconic characters and moments, like the Millennium Falcon, or the DeLorean, the time machine, or even King Kong and the T Rex in Jurassic Park. All of those things are so good because the movie is so good, because the story involves you, because it's really well directed, it's exciting, the music is good, and people seem to have this back to front thing of like what made them good was all those props and superficial details, but I don't know. So Ready Player One, part of what annoys me is it's just full of all these pop culture references that doesn't make a movie. You need its own story. That was a flaw I thought there was with the book. I didn't like it. I also just find I get really tired of all these you could call them the Malthusian trap kind of idea that we're headed for disaster, global warming or overpopulation, that's a popular one, or resources running out in general, that they never explain it. They never explain how the I don't know. Has that ever really happened? An advanced economy that suddenly went backwards. I don't know. Is there any example of that? Has any? I know stagnation has happened, but usually that's again if they go with socialism, it's a very simple pattern. But the places where there's capitalism, they always go well. The worst problem is you get inequality. Some people earn a lot of money and others don't earn as much. Of course, even the poor and middle class go up, but it's all greed because, oh, but some people are making more money. But anyway, now we're getting off topic. So that premise I find silly. Like, why are these people, and it seems to kind of glorify all these people playing video games. I think video games are great as like a hobby, not as like a that's all you do. Like, why don't they have a job? Why aren't they doing things, getting things done, building things? They're all just wearing things. I think Spielberg's version is much better. At least there's some humor. I'm probably going to jump around a bit because it's not going to be really thorough. I like the part where they had all the Shining. They went into that because it just kind of recreated. I don't know how he did it, but it seemed like they were in the same place as The Shining, and it was all the same. Having said that, it didn't feel like they did much with it. It was kind of just superficial. There's so much you could do, and again, that's The Shining is not. I don't think it's an amazing movie. I think it's pretty good, but it's not great just because of the location and all of that. It's because of the build up. The Jack Nicholson is really good. The suspense, the little boy and Red Rum, all of that stuff. Still, it's kind of cool that they recreated it. And in a way, I like the idea of like an adventure that's like going through all these pop culture things, potentially. But just the structure of it. The fact that this billionaire, this guy who has heaps of money, just makes it a game in order for people to get it. It just seems really silly. Again, it goes against the idea of earning your own wealth. And then what's funny is one of the smartest things you can do is have a group of people pull together and work together to get it. And that's exactly what the company in the movie does. But it's portrayed as this evil thing. In the book, it's even worse, I think, where it's like, that's useful. It's useful to, like, if that company is creating jobs, it's taking that huge amount of wealth and actually distributing it to lots of people who work. Anyone who's got knowledge could get hired by them to help them try to track down those eggs. and yet it's seen as a bad thing. But yeah, jumping around again in the movie, I liked how all the people went into the Shining, and then they're all like screaming and shouting, and that was very funny. A lot of those parts, just where it was kind of mocking people, just they're just jumping around and moving. They look so stupid. I guess that's going to be a thing with virtual reality as it becomes more popular. Just watching people jump around and like look silly while they're playing games. But yeah, also just the concept, the making it this little hidden Easter egg, like it's some game. It just seems so stupid. Like, why doesn't he just give his money away? And then he's giving all of this money and power to one person who knows the most about his eccentric, and it may take time. He could also be lying. How do we know for sure? It also seems short-sighted, like no one can hack, no one can access, get the information. And it's also naive in terms of there's one game, like Oasis. I think it's implied that the other guy has a competing thing, and then it's like, I thought competition was good. Isn't it good that people have alternate, like, different virtual reality universes to pick from? A bit like if you can go on Facebook, but you can also go on, I don't know, Twitter, or there might be other ones that are not as famous, but isn't it good to have competition and options for people? Anyway, back to the movie. I kind of enjoyed the first race thing generally. Like, it was kind of cool. It still felt like they could have had more vehicles. I did like that King Kong was there, and the T-Rex. Like, I thought the special effects were pretty cool, and it's pretty exciting. It just, again, I still think it could have gone further. Like, there's so many iconic characters from so many different kind of genres and movies, and I feel like that kind of can draw people together as well. If this villain from this famous, like, you could have the Ghostbusters, Stay Puft, Marshmallow Man. I know there's probably lots of copyright issues and stuff, but you would think that shouldn't be that hard. You're kind of helping promote these things. You could take some less famous horror movies or action movies and take the villain from that, and people who like it. That's the thing. I feel like too many of the references are in like the background. There's a part with Goro. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't go for long. I know you see the little Mortal Kombat logo in some places at Batman. Oh, in the race it was Circle that had the Batman from the TV series, the Adam West one there, and then it gets knocked over, and I was like, no, why did it? I hated that part. I thought that was terrible. I didn't want that to happen. Okay, what else? I thought TJ Miller was good as that bad guy with the skull. Like, it was quite funny. Although, again, it didn't seem like there was a lot going on there. I liked just in terms of the bad guys, I didn't feel like I really understood exactly what they're doing most of the time. The romance, I don't know if I completely bought it between the main characters, but it's alright. They're young. I thought the actors were really reasonably good. And Spielberg's good at making you care about characters like that. I thought Spielberg brought a lot of heart to it and made it light-hearted as well, not too serious, and brought out some of the humor and made it a bit exciting. I didn't really like the songs that much. I think they were sort of just 80s pop songs, but they're ones we've heard before. They're not like, da 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 da, like Jump by Van Halen. Like, I don't know. It seems mediocre to me. It just seems like there's a lot of other things you could do. With the music, I was quite disappointed that it just imitated Back to the Future so much. I couldn't tell you how the Ready Player One music goes at all. I might try to listen to it later, but I know that it ripped off or copied Back to the Future a few times when they used the Zemeckis cube. But I don't know about other people, but for me it was like really obvious. It had the like kind of mysterious. It's played at the start of Back to the Future Part 2 and some of the other. It's in the movies. When he freezes the time with the Rubik's Cube thing. It's also not clear, did he have to solve the Rubik's Cube? That's not that hard for people that know how to do it. And is it just a one-off thing? A lot of those, it would have been nice if we knew the rules a bit better. The big epic action scene at the end was like okay, but again, we didn't really get a sense of numbers. I feel like the other characters like Daito and Shoto, or Sho, it's just Sho, those Asian kids, we don't know much about them. They don't really do anything. even H, I thought was kind of silly and cliched. It's a similar thing in the book that it's a girl. Like, so what? Why is she pretending to be a guy? Does she want to be a guy? And like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem profound, but I guess it is what it is. It's just weird. It's like, I don't. I also don't like that. The movie maybe even seems to glorify that a little bit, where people have these avatars. Like, I don't want to have an avatar, you know? I just want to be me. Now, if I create an avatar, I'm probably going to make the avatar really silly, or something, or something simple. But you know, I don't get that idea of trying to hide who you are or pretend that you are the avatar. It's just makeup, you know. In fact, most video games I don't like any control. Just like, here's the character, that's it. You can't change them. You just play the game. But yeah, with the score, just a lot of the action, I could tell it was the same music as Back to the Future, and it didn't feel like a reference. It didn't feel appropriate because there's so many other movies that it could be referring to. And Back to the Future is a separate trilogy. They're very good movies, but it felt like Alan Silvestri, the composer, just used it. It was just lazy. It felt like recycling. I didn't like it. I thought it was very cool that Iron Giant was in it. I really like Iron Giant. I think that's an awesome movie. Except, I don't know, it felt like it could have been more of a surprise, but it's kind of set up throughout the movie, so it's kind of like not so amazing when you see the Iron Giant in it. I feel like that could have been held as a surprise. That would have been cooler. And I think I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I think I had the new Michael Bay version, which is kind of weird. And I don't know. I think I saw some other random characters. I know there's probably heaps, but again, it would have been nice to see them get a bit more of a role, even just like pivotal roles where they could come in, like one of your favorite characters come in and defeat an enemy just to save the good guy. It also just seems really insular, these puzzles, the egg hunting things, like playing adventure and doing some little Easter egg to get to the third key or whatever, get through the third gate. And then some obscure thing about, I didn't get the story at the end with he regretted signing. Yeah, and it's like, did he ever kiss a girl, or is that, there was something else about that, like, I don't know, it feels like it kind of glorifies some of this, like this eccentric billionaire making a weird, what's the word for it? It just seems kind of messed up. Why would you put people through that? You know, just share your wealth, share your money. And again, it just like quite a few movies these days seems kind of anti-capitalist, and I feel like people don't understand capitalism. They have this weird idea that somehow rich companies have power. This movie kind of blurs it with the bad guys. That company is like blowing people up and attacking people. That's illegal. You can't do that. The government can do that, right? And justify it, and they can give excuses, or they can use force against people, right? They can legally do things like that if they've got that authority, if they reach that level. But a company can't. Not in a free market. Not in a capitalist society. So it kind of blurs that line. You know, Microsoft's, McDonald's, Walmart in America, they can't do that. In fact, the only way they can make money is by satisfying customers. Oasis can only make money in this movie by people buying it and choosing to use it. And the same with this other company, the competitor, right? They're taking a huge risk by paying all these people, the sixes or whatever, the IOI, whatever it is, 101, all of those people. They're taking a huge risk, and they're creating all those jobs. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. It was alright. There were parts that were generally enjoyable, but it didn't blow me away. There's other movies like The Matrix, Inception, I feel like a few others that kind of have the concept of a world within a world that are much more thought-provoking, much more pushing the boundary, much more interesting. This one doesn't go that far in that way. It's kind of cool seeing characters from things from different movies, but it just doesn't go that far. It feels like it could have gone so much further. And had more surprises and kind of Easter eggs. But most of it, like, there's a lot of scenes, a lot of parts that don't. And you know, if you're thinking of, like, other movies, like, take Star Wars. So many things in that movie are iconic. But what about Ready Player One? What's iconic in Ready Player One? Oasis, this virtual reality game? Like, not really. That concept's very kind of blank. It's kind of exciting, but it's not as cool or unique as The Matrix with all the green writing, or Inception, where there's like all this imagery you might associate with it, of like people falling back in slow motion into water, or people fighting in hallways and getting hit on the side, or this van slowly falling, or like a train suddenly appearing out of nowhere, or the idea of levels, and you're in this third level and there's this ice like fortress in the middle of the snow. Like, it's much more memorable. But Ready Player One, it's like a virtual game. Okay, okay. What else? Wade, is it Wade Watts? Like, okay, he's pretty cool, I guess. You know, who else is there? The girl with the birthmark that, it's so hideous. Like, oh no, oh no. Or the two Asian kids. It was funny that the little one, the 11-year-old, kept saying like, "Okay, I get it. I'm 11. You don't have to rub it in." Or I don't know. He kept making comments about it, and the black girl, H, like, and even and their virtual versions, they're also not memorable. Parsifal, Artemis with a 3 or something. Yeah, I mean, I remember it because it was fresh in my memory, and I'm kind of interested in the genre, but there's nothing really iconic about Ready Player One itself. So it just feels kind of empty. It's okay though. Spielberg, again, he can make good movies overall. There are interesting shots, but it's just superficial, a little bit anti-capitalist, meaning it's just a bit ignorant. Yeah, no real depth, and just nowhere near as good as Spielberg's other movies, and nowhere near as good, I think, as those other sci-fi kind of action movies. But anyway, I'll leave it there. Okay, ciao. I'll see you later.